Grand Seiko is known for its Seasons collection, birch pieces, and of course the snowflake generally, but the dive watches have not really caught on in any meaningful way in comparison. Sure, the SBGA463 is a great piece that has a lot to offer, and I will compare it to today's piece later in the video, but what if they came out with something that was just totally exceptional? Well, today is that day, because we now have the SLGA015, which is a complete monster, lurking and ready to devour the competition with its insane attention to detail and combination of features. Oh, and as you may have thought, this one has a source of inspiration for that dial and the theme, which is the violent tides of the Black Stream, which is also known as the Kuroshio Current. It flows northwards past Japan towards the Arctic North Pacific and is one of the largest ocean streams in the world. Now let's find out if this watch will live up to all the hype that I just gave it. What's up everyone, it's Chris with the Little Treasury channel. Welcome back. This is where we bring you original and in-depth watch content at least once per week. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to be alerted as soon as we upload. I'm from Little Treasury Jewelers, which is located in Gambrills, Maryland. And it's where you go when you're in the know. As always, the watches that I review are for sale and can be purchased, so please see the description below to contact us. If you're just joining us now, I'll go over the watch's detailed measurements and features, and then I'll offer my personal opinion at the end. In our last video, I compared all 4 of the current Grand Seiko birch models to see which one is the best fit for you. Check this one out if you're interested in the birch line and might be having a hard time deciding which one is for you, or would just like to see which one was my favorite at the end. Wrist check time. Today I'm wearing my Seiko SRP-H42K Yakwat Chang Thailand limited edition that I picked up while I was on vacation to Thailand earlier this summer. And since I visited 9 different temples, this was absolutely the perfect watch to pick up since it represents the white demon giant that guards the Temple of the Dawn. Now tell me which watch that you're wearing while you're watching the video and make sure to tell me why. Now let's get on to the features. The SLGA015 Black Stream has a 44.9mm case width, including the crown guard, a 14mm thickness, a 50.6mm lug-to-lug, a 22.7mm lug width, a 32.4mm crystal diameter, and weighs in at 148.49 grams. The case is the Evolution 9 series and is made out of high-intensity titanium, which is an alloy of titanium, niobium, and iron, and is approximately 100 Vickers harder than stainless steel and 30% lighter. It has wide, thin lugs with brushed finish tops, a stripe of high polish going along the edge, and more matte finish on the sides. The crown guard was designed to prevent catching on clothes or equipment and is seamlessly integrated into the case, with a robust screw-down crown at the 3 position, with the GS logo on the tip. When you unscrew it, you will see a red indicator on the stem telling you to close it right now. The sapphire crystal has a beveled edge to it, and the bezel has a brushed finish reminiscent of the birch Evolution 9 models on the edges of the teeth. I'm proud to say that Grand Seiko has a ceramic black bezel insert with white markers, which we rarely saw before because Grand Seiko wanted to make sure that the ceramic bezel that they used was extremely resistant to shattering, which now they actually figured out a structure on the underside of this one that does just that. The crystal sits flush with the bezel and does not protrude. Now let's check the bezel action. It's everything that I want in a bezel: nice resistance, precise clicks, and of course, that unique Seiko noise. The bezel does not disappoint. The dial has a textured wave pattern, which is made in the same technique as the Lake Suwa SLGA007, but this one has more waves and represents the violent currents of the Black Stream. The markers are all in high polish with lume in the center, and at the 12 position is a split fan style, with round markers for the others besides a rectangle for the 6 and 9 positions. The chapter ring does not have a texture and has white markers for the minutes. The GS logo and Grand Seiko can be found at the top middle portion in white. The hour hand is fountain pen style, and the minute hand is a large arrow, with a simple reverse lollipop style second hand, all in silver tone. The power reserve indicator can be found at the left middle portion and has a silver toned hand with 3 white and 2 gray ascending divisions that each represent 1 full day of power. And on this piece, full power is at the top instead of the bottom, like you are used to seeing on other spring drive models. The date window can be found at the 3 position and has a white frame with a white background and black numerals, with a white pip of lume to the right of it for ISO compliance. Spring drive, 5 days, and 200M can be found at the bottom middle portion in white. Lume can be found vividly applied on all dial markers, including the pip to the right of the date, the hour, minute, and second hands, and on the pip of the bezel. The caseback is closed and is very simple with the Grand Seiko Lion logo right in the center. The movement is the brand new 9RA5, which is a super version of the spring drive with the power reserve on the front instead of the back like the 9RA2. Not only is it more accurate at losing or gaining 10 seconds a month instead of the typical 15, it has a 5-day power reserve, which is a little over double what the other spring drive models have. Grand Seiko has grown and selected the most stable quartz crystals possible for this movement and aged the crystals for 3 months, and uses a sophisticated thermocompensator that checks and adjusts for changes in temperature 540 times per day to achieve this crazy accuracy. This movement is more shock resistant than before, has 38 joules, dual-sized barrels, and an offset magic lever to make it even thinner. The dual-sized barrels give it a power reserve of 120 hours. If you aren't familiar with a spring drive, it is basically a spring-powered movement that is regulated by a quartz crystal that has an electromagnetic braking system allowing that second hand to glide smoothly and perfectly. The bracelet is an Evolution 9 style and is matte finished, but has a much more aggressive taper than on the other Evolution 9 models, which makes it even more comfortable on the wrist. The bracelet is designed to allow more airflow than the other Evolution 9 models, which is achieved by cavities on the underside. The clasp is complex and has GS cast into the locking flap. It has pushers to open it, it has 4 clicks of micro adjust, and a spring bar loaded ratcheting micro adjust on the opposite side that you just push the locking flap forward to use. The Grand Seiko SLGA015 Black Stream is 200 meter water resistant and can be yours for $11,600. Now for my personal opinion. All right, we have a lot to unpack here. Firstly, you are probably wondering why this is priced at $11,600. And let's get into it because you have the SBGA463 that is priced at $7,300 and it has similar features. But these similar features are just less of these features. For example, on the 015, you have a textured dial with a cool story. You have a significantly upgraded spring drive movement. You have a real ceramic bezel. You have a highly thought out bracelet design, and you have a slightly smaller case size. Is that worth $4,300 more? I think that it is pretty reasonable actually, considering. But the SBGA 463 also has its place if you don't want these upgrades, and maybe you would just like a simple option. These two seem to actually be placed together to compete with two similar style models in another brand that most of you are sick of, but offer way more for lower prices in my opinion. You can use your imagination to determine which brand that I'm talking about. This sits surprisingly well on my 6.5 inch wrist, and I would absolutely consider this as an option. The bracelet is very comfortable and the taper is a huge step in the right direction that I hope goes into all of the Evolution 9 models in the future. I love the dial and the look of this piece, and I really think that it steals the show in the Grand Seiko lineup for divers, and that when people start catching on to this one, it will be a very hot item. If I had to criticize this piece, the only thing that I would say is the caseback should be open or have something more interesting back there, although a proper diver will have it closed anyway. I'll recommend this piece to anyone who would like a supreme dive watch that I can't think of anything on the market that is actually better than as far as pound for pound features, quality, and value, and would like the best dive watch that Grand Seiko or mostly anyone has to offer. Thanks for watching today, everyone. I really hope that you enjoyed the video. And of course, if you did, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and share with all of your friends and your family members too. I look forward to seeing you next video.